Florida's Fourth Estate with hosts Ginger Gadsden and Matt Austin. The show where we bring Florida into focus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fantastic edition of Florida's Fourth Estate. We can't wait to get to the guest we have for today. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Ginger Gadsden. My co-host is Matt Austin. There is a gentleman who needs no introduction, but I'm going to tell you his name is John Morgan, attorney extraordinaire. Mr. Morgan, we are so happy. We're just going to get right to it because we're so excited to have you on Florida's Fourth Estate. This is a podcast, as you know, where you wonder what people are thinking sometimes, and we're going to tell you. And I don't think we ever wonder what you're thinking because you always just tell us, hello.
I've always thought that if you just speak straight, you speak best, and authenticity is better than anything else. So I say, I don't know who the comedian was. He used to say, what you see is what you get. Maybe Flip Wilson, aging myself, but what you see is what you get. And the older you get, the less you give a damn.
Sometimes the richer you get too.
I like that we're 2 minutes in. We've already got a Flip Wilson reference and we have our first damn. Well, John Morgan is definitely on the podcast. Friend of the podcast. He's been on several times. John, first off, want to know how life is going, how business is going. If people read the paper, they probably saw not only are you doing well, your son is killing it. He just bought a mansion on the Winter Park chain of lakes. And things must be going well for the Morgan family, huh?
Well, all I can say to that is in my next life, I would like to be one of my 4 children or one of my 6 grandchildren because they all live in better houses than me. They drive better cars and they damn sure vacation more than me.
Do you find that a challenge though? Because when you come up, you had to really, earn from the bottom up, and being a parent of kids that you're trying to raise with humility and a hard work ethic. Obviously your kids are working hard, but do you find that as a challenge as a parent? Because I know I sure do.
I worried about it early because, you want people to stay hungry. I wrote a book once called You Can't Teach Hungry, sold a lot of copies. But the thing I worried most about was would they have a drive and a work ethic? And when they were all young, one time they came home for Christmas break and they're from Bishop Moore, and I said, when are you all going to go start working over Christmas break? And one of the boys said, well, nobody at school's working this Christmas. I said, that's not true. He goes, nobody's working. I said, well, I know that's not true because you two are going to be working this Christmas. And all you got to do is go, we had WonderWorks. I don't know how to drive. I said, the good news is you already got a job. Just pick your 40 hours and get out there and work. And so
wow.
All 3 of my boys went to law school. My daughter went to the University of Florida. And my son, Dan, had a big verdict yesterday down in Brevard County. He's my baby. And he's tried 7 cases to trial this year. So I'm proud of him. And I'm proud of all of them because they get up and work.
Yeah, so you don't really have to worry about, that work ethic anymore. It seems like it's stuck.
I worried about it a lot. I had, Matt, my number 2 guy, was a surfer. He chased surfs all over the world and smoked a little weed in between. So I had to worry about him. Then I had to worry about Dan, my baby, who decided when he was at the University of Florida, he was going to be a rapper. And he smoked a little weed in between. You have trouble when your son in college's nickname is D-Mo Swag. And there's marijuana going on when you hear that. And thank God for my daughter. That's all I can say. who just had my only granddaughter a few weeks ago. So
Oh, congratulations.
I'm so happy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we got a little girl finally.
That's it.
Oh,
Now,
that's-
are your kids okay with you outing their weed usage?
Yeah, because it's true. I mean, I think what people in life make the biggest mistake is trying to be something they're not, or to pretend that nothing ever happened. And look, a lot of things have happened. And I think when you own that, people appreciate that more than when you try to act like you're some kind of saint. So
yeah, it's
I mean,
never
he's
really
also
the lie.
the-
It's always the
he-
cover up.
It's true.
Yes.
And he goes by hashtag pot daddy on Twitter. So I don't think anybody's,
Well, I'm,
fooled by
tomorrow,
anything. The other thing people are interested in these days, the governor's race. So we have had a governor who's making headlines nationally pretty much every other day. Last time we had you on this podcast, you were approving of the job Governor DeSantis was doing. I'm curious as if your thoughts on that have changed. Where are you at as far as Governor DeSantis and whoever the Democrats end up getting him? Charlie Crist appears to be the front runner to take him on right now. Where are you at with this governor's race?
well, I told you the governor and I struck a great deal on marijuana, so I'm always appreciative to him for that. This whole COVID thing has been politicized to the point that, if you're a Republican, you don't get a booster. And if you're Democrat, you get a booster every week. And who knows what the right answer is? I mean, I talked to a guy I went to high school with the other day who's an anesthesiologist and one of my best friends growing up here in Winter Park. And I said, "Are you vaccinated?" And he said, "No comment." And he's a doctor. And from my perspective on the thing, look, the reason I became a lawyer is I suck in math and science, so there's no chance of me being a doctor. The only reason I got through math classes, I had a smart girl sitting right to the right of me and I had good eyes. But for her, I'd still be remediating over at Winter Park High School algebra. But look, coming from Kentucky with low test scores on the SAT, my take is this: everybody who's dying is basically unvaccinated, and the people who are living are vaccinated.
Okay, now that you've learned a little bit about his stance on COVID, his family, and his thoughts on pot, we ask attorney John Morgan about how he got started in law, becoming America's biggest injury law firm. How he says Disney influenced his fate is next.
We've been catching up with powerhouse attorney and businessman John Morgan here on Florida's Fourth Estate. Let's get back to it. Let me ask you this, John. One of the big headlines we've been following this year is Ron DeSantis against Disney, or woke Disney, as he calls it. This is something, you've been deep in Florida politics for decades, and Disney has run things. There's kind of like Big Sugar, Disney, they dump all the money into the system. To see politicians turn on Disney is very interesting, and possibly taking the Reedy Creek district away from Disney, which would really complicate Disney's operations. Not saying it would, obviously it wouldn't shut them down, but complications, it would cost them a lot of money. What's your take on the governor and the Republican Party versus Disney right now?
Well, first of all, with full disclosure, I have to announce that, I'm a former cast member at Disney. I started in the beginning as Fiddler Pig in the Big Bad Wolf unit. I was promoted to King Louie in Song of the South. And because I was a great dancer, I was ultimately promoted to Pluto for the America on Parade in 1976. So I'm a former character.
So you're biased.
So I'm biased.
Well, is
But-
there video? I
but-
want to first, before we go on, is there video of any of this? Your performances,
There
your
is-
swivel hips?
There are pictures of me with my Pluto and King Louie head on. I was King Louie, the gorilla. And there are pictures. There are very vivid pictures. I don't look like myself. I look good. I look like my children. This is before I started looking like Danny DeVito. This is when I used to look like Tom Cruise, and as I got older, I turned into friggin' Danny DeVito. But I do have pictures if y'all would like for me to send them for the podcast. But
we like
interesting thing about Reedy Creek is when my brother Tim was paralyzed, he was paralyzed out at Disney World. He was paralyzed on the water. The reason that his case that he could never sue Disney World is because Reedy Creek was owned by Disney. So that was his employer, and they had comp immunity, so that Tim was never able to bring a lawsuit because they had comp immunity.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And listen, by the way, Disney treated Tim terribly during that. And it was that time I didn't know what a personal injury lawyer was. It was Disney's poor treatment of Tim, and the way they just, they fought him like he was a combatant enemy, even on his comp benefits. And I was 19. We were poor as hell. And here we were with my brother, C6, C7 quadriplegic, with this gigantic company. And then they finally said to him, they said, well, we'll put you back to work so they can get out paying him benefits. And they said, we'll make you an operator from 11 at night till 7 in the morning. And when Disney was messing with Tim, I became as mad at Disney as Ron DeSantis is at Disney. And those moments in my life was my inspiration for becoming a personal injury lawyer. I said then and there that my life's work was going to be representing people who were powerless, hopeless, and helpless against big corporations like Walt Disney World. And that's all I've ever done. I never applied for a job anywhere else. Everybody that knows my story knows this is the story. So it's been interesting to hear Reedy Creek's name come up after all those years, after Tim was hurt in 1977.
So I bet you'd love to see that Reedy Creek taken away.
Well, there's been so many changes in the guard out at Disney, but it wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't bother me to see Reedy Creek taken away, because when I think of Reedy Creek, that's what blocked Tim's lawsuit, was the comp immunity, which was BS in itself. I mean, they say we own the utility, and so therefore Tim is part of that because Disney owns that. And but DeSantis he's a risk taker. I mean, he's going against the mouse. I don't think it's going to have much effect on Disney. I think it's going to be kind of like when Chick-fil-A, got into a big row with the gay community. They weren't going to eat Chick-fil-A's anymore. Well, you still can't get into a Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is just going gangbusters, and I think Disney will too. When we start having this war over gayness, I just think it's so unhealthy. I think it's so sad. I don't understand it. I don't know that my kids were ever taught anything about it when they were in second, third grade. But these are wars that are manufactured to gin up votes.
This is what they are talking about. With some of the Republicans are saying they don't want a teacher talking to their kids about gay or not being gay. And now there are 50 some odd math books that are banned in the state of Florida because they fear that there are some critical race theories being taught there. How does that strike you?
Well, look, there's no question that there is a race war going on in America right now. That's the underlying issue. I got a lot of hate mail when I had when he was president and he came to my house. I had hate mail that you can't believe just because the president of the United States came to my house. And I think that bothered a lot of people that a black man would be president of the United States. But I will tell you what, I've met a lot of politicians in my life. I've never met one, maybe Clinton, who's as smart as Barack Obama. So it's a war. People are unhappy. People are angry. Life has not gone the way they want. So they got to start looking to who to blame. It's like the illegal immigrants. They're a target. Yet if we didn't have the 14 million illegal immigrants, we wouldn't have vegetables. When you go out to all these strawberry fields and avocado fields, it's illegal immigrants. When you drive down Orlando Avenue, you see people swinging off of a building, washing windows from 20 stories up. It's an illegal immigrant. And we could listen. Here's the real crazy thing. We could get rid of illegal immigrants in one day. We could just say, if you hire an illegal immigrant, it's a third-degree felony. You go to jail for a year and you fine $100,000. You know why we don't want to do that? Because we like slave labor. We like to have these people who work in camps out in Apopka and over in Pasco, and they get paid and they have a commissary, and it's almost like slave labor.
I've learned so much about you, and I thought I knew you, and I think a lot of people think they know you, but they really don't know you. Former Disney star is what I'm learning.
Dancer.
Well, don't forget dancer. I mean, dancer. Tommy Tune came to Disney. He was a world-class choreographer, and he plucked me out of everybody because of my dancing abilities.
Do you still have the moves, Sean?
Oh my God, I'm unbelievable.
John Morgan, we appreciate you taking a bunch of time to talk to us. And you're an interesting guy with a lot of perspectives on pretty much everything you can imagine. So enjoy your gummies tomorrow and your Lucky Charms. And don't do anything crazy, okay, man? Don't end up on the news.
We're going to call you Swivel Hips from here on
And
out.
remember, I will always be here fighting for the people, not the powerful. Shaka.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with a look at what's coming up next week. Hey, welcome back to Florida's Fourth Estate. If you enjoyed this week, just wait until next week.
Oh, dare I say we have an explosive episode for you. We're talking about fireworks, the big 4th of July show in Central Florida. We do it every single year and we love it. Can't wait to take you behind the scenes and tell you how they put it all together.